We got to get back to doing what's expected of us as free citizens in this democracy. That means being tolerant, being respectful, staying informed, and being engaged. I'm former Congressman Joe Walsh. Follow me here and join the millions of Americans who are renewing their social contract with each other. The social contract, it's on us. Hey, I watched a candidate for president last night on a CNN town hall. And for about an hour and 15 minutes, I watched and listened to a candidate for president last night talk about how she wants her entire presidency to be focused on trying to do stuff for the American people, trying to fix things for the American people, trying to address the concerns of the American people. Look, I've said this a bunch of times. I'm not a Democrat. I've got a whole heap of policy differences with Kamala Harris. But look, it became so clear again last night that Kamala Harris wants to do things for the American people. She's running for president to help the American people. Now, she said this over and over and over in the almost 3 months now she's been a candidate for president. But the contrast with Trump really stuck me in this CNN town hall. And I'd like to contrast what Kamala Harris said in this CNN town hall with what Donald Trump said in his CNN town hall. But Donald Trump declined to do a town hall with CNN because Donald Trump is afraid to do a town hall with CNN, just like Donald Trump is afraid and has been afraid to do another debate with Kamala Harris. So all we can contrast what Kamala Harris said last night in this town hall with everything that Donald Trump has said. And with 12, 13 days to go, the choice in this election is so clear. Policy aside for a moment, you have a candidate who's going to be focused, if she's elected, on the American people, on America. Versus a candidate, Donald Trump, who, if he's elected, is going to be focused on Donald Trump. Focused purely on Donald Trump. You know, as I travel the country and I speak to Republicans and independents and some Democrats, encouraging them to vote for Kamala Harris, I undoubtedly talk about, you know, if you put Trump back in the White House, it's going to be 4 years of his orange, ugly mug in front of your camera every single day, spewing chaos. It's going to be Trump 24/7, talking about Trump 24/7, complaining about Trump 24/7, whining about Donald Trump 24/7, bitching and moaning about Donald Trump 24/7. That's what you're going to get, America. And Trump says as much. He's told us that this is what he's going to be focused on. And this was made really, 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 really clear. And by the way, America, you've got to decide. All of you, and I guess right now, clearly I'm not talking to Trump's hardest core supporters who are going to vote for him no matter what, right? He admires Hitler. He loves Hitler. Doesn't matter. MAGA, 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 I'm with him. And the folks on the far left, or I don't know. I don't know if the folks on the far left are going to come out and vote for Kamala Harris. But the good, committed Democrats who are going to vote for Kamala Harris no matter what, I suppose I'm speaking to everybody else right now when I say this. This is one way, one vivid, clear way to look at the choice you've got. You undecided voter, you voter leaning in a certain direction, you voter out there who I know because I talk to you all the time, who thinks that and believes that you're sick of Trump, Trump's an asshole, but Kamala Harris, she may be too off on issues and she's bad on immigration and I don't know what I'm going to do. Just listen to me. Think about it like this. If she's elected, you may disagree with some of the things she's going to do, but she's going to be focused on trying to do stuff for the American people. She'll be focused on being president of America. She won't be focused on herself or talking about herself or whining about herself or complaining about herself or going after her political opponents or telling lies about other people who she believes have offended her. She's just going to be focused on doing her job. Versus Trump, you decide, guys, versus Trump, who every single day for 4 years is going to be focused on himself. And all he's going to be doing is talking about, crying about, screaming about, complaining about, bitching and moaning about, lying about himself. Going to be a big drama. Same thing. Nothing will get done. No shit will get done. It'll be 4 years of Trump in your fucking face, everyday chaos. You decide. Kamala Harris said one thing last night that crystallized this difference between her and him, between her just wanting to, if I'm president, I'm going to try to, I'm going to try to fix things and do things. And I want to be president to get shit done versus Trump, who is going to be all about Trump. She had one line in there, about a 30, 45 second line in there that crystallizes this difference. Keith, give it to me.
He's going to sit there unstable, unhinged, plotting his revenge, plotting his retribution, creating an enemies list. I'm going to tell you, my list will be a list of how I address and continue to address the issues that you all are raising this afternoon and evening. It will be a to-do list about how we can impact the American people and lift up the American people and address some of the challenges that we continue to face.
He's going to have an enemies list. I'm going to have a to-do list. Oh, I mean, right there. I want her to say this every day for these final 12 or 13 days. Kamala Harris, take that message out to every single voter in this country for the rest of this campaign. He's going to have an enemies list. I'm going to have a to-do list. He's going to have an enemies list. He has an enemies list. He's going to spend 4 years going after his enemies, going after everybody who he believes has wronged him. I'm going to have a to-do list focused on the concerns of the American people. I'm going to have a to-do list trying to fix the problems in this country, try to fix what the American people want fixed. Man, he's going to have an enemies list. I'm going to have a to-do list. Ah, America. Right there. Right there's the difference. Right there is the framing of this campaign. What do you want? Do you want, and let's just be really clear about something. Donald Trump does have an enemies list. I know that. We know that. I'm on that list. Plenty of people are on that list. Donald Trump has a list of all the people he believes have wronged him, opposed him, gone after him. And if he's elected, as Kamala Harris said right there, man, it's going to be retribution and revenge. He's going to tick down the names on that enemies list. He's talked about this, right? He's going to be a dictator, right? He said he wants to put his political opponents in jail. He has said he wants to use the military to go after his political opponents. He's said he wants to shut down media networks that he doesn't like. He's said all of these things. He admires Hitler. He reveres Hitler. He wants to be a dictator. What do dictators do? He wants to use the military to go after his political opponents. All of us on that enemies list, we are the enemy within. I mean, he's labeled us. We're the enemy within. In his words, this is what he's pledged to do. Look at the contrast. Again, 2 candidates for president, 2 lists, right? 2 lists. One an enemies list, one a to-do list. And what's interesting, again, what's important here, forget about Trump for a minute. Yeah. Trump is utterly horrible. He's the worst of all of us. He's reaching inside of you to grab your ugliest, deepest, darkest, most bigoted and racist fears, and he's shaking the hell out of them. That's what he's doing to you. Forget about Trump for a moment. What does this say about the priorities of what each of these 2 candidates want to do? So even if you don't feel the same way about Trump that I do, he's told you, American voter, that if he's elected, he's going to focus on himself. He's going to focus on getting revenge for the way that he was treated. He's going to focus on going after his opponents, his enemies, as he calls us. But he's going to be focused for 4 years on himself. Go back to COVID. Trump fucked up on COVID big time. I was at a rally in Pennsylvania earlier this week with the second gentleman, Doug Emhoff, Kamala Harris's husband. And Doug told me privately that he brings up the way Trump handled COVID in every single speech because we've forgotten about it. We don't talk about it enough because there's so much other batshit, crazy, ugly, evil, dishonest stuff that Trump's done and said. We don't talk about. We've forgotten about how he mishandled COVID. And Emhoff said that he purposely brings up how Trump screwed up COVID in every single speech he gives. And the point of it is, Trump did mismanage COVID, screwed up COVID, and hundreds of thousands of Americans died every day, every week. Unnecessary deaths, needless deaths, because Donald Trump was purely focused, in his own words, on himself. When COVID hit, all Trump cared about and could think about was how it would impact his reelection. So everything he did was geared toward, I only care about myself. I've got to get myself reelected. So he lied about COVID. He purposely lied about COVID. He purposely lied about the vaccines. We laugh about all the bleaching and all the other shit, but he purposely mishandled and didn't prepare the nation for COVID because he wasn't capable of thinking about the country. COVID hit and all he could think about was himself. I remember thinking when COVID hit that any other normal president, it was like a time of war. We were at war. And I remember thinking, oh my God, this will help get Trump reelected, because any normal president when a once in a lifetime health crisis hits, again, like we're at war, a normal president rallies the entire country around this, around COVID, around this health crisis. We're all in this together. This is how we're all going to defeat it. If Trump had done stuff like that and been truthful about COVID and been honest about COVID and put the American people before himself, man, he'd have cruised to re-election. But he wasn't capable of that because Donald Trump is not capable of putting the country before himself. He's utterly incapable of thinking about anyone or anything but himself. He's only capable of thinking about himself. And that's what he did during COVID. And he didn't prepare the country for it purposely. And he lied about it. And he ignored it. And he didn't deal with it because all he wanted to do was get himself reelected. And we paid a great price. And so many people died who didn't need to. He'll do this again. If he's reelected, it will be 4 years of that again. Only focused on himself, his enemies list. And that's what a second Trump administration would be all about. Fucking revenge. He'll come after people like me and Liz Cheney. He'll go after General Kelly. He'll go after his political opponents. The point is, he'll be focused only on himself because that's what he's focused on, the enemies list. Do you want to vote for a president who's only focused on himself? Do you want to vote for a president who's put together an enemies list? Or do you want to vote for a president who's put together a to-do list? Think about that, a to-do list, Kamala Harris. A to-do list listing everything pertaining to the problems in this country and the concerns that the American people have. Things to fix for the American people. Kamala's to-do list has nothing to do with herself. Again, the enemies list. Kamala Harris's to-do list. It's not focused on her. It's focused on, you know what, we all know what to-do lists are. Fixing things, improving things, changing things, reforming things, cleaning up things, fixing messes, all of this stuff. Stuff that you've got to do, that we've all got to do, right, to take care of things. None of that, none of this on a to-do list is about Kamala Harris. And she said it there. The hopes and wishes and dreams and concerns of the American people. That's what her to-do list is. I'll disagree with plenty of the items on her to-do list. But as I'm asked every day, why am I supporting Kamala Harris? Well, for a lot of reasons. Donald Trump is a lawless, un-American psychopath, utterly unfit to be president. He interrupted and didn't participate in the peaceful transfer of power. That's game, set, match for me. But I want a president who's capable of focusing on America, capable of focusing on the American people. That's her. He's incapable of that. I don't want a president who's only capable of focusing on himself. I just love that. Sat with me last night after watching her town hall. America, you decide. You decide. Do you want a president with an enemies list or a president with a to-do list? I mean, really put everything, all the other noise aside for a moment and just look at this. Come on now, do the right thing. an enemies list. And again, think about what that says about him, and a to-do list, and what that says about her. One final thought. As I watched her last night, and I could tell she was tired, Kamala Harris, she's working her ass off. And I love that she came out of the gate right away. She was asked, do you think Trump's a fascist? And she said, yes, I do. Damn it, correct. Damn it, great answer. Thank you, Kamala Harris, for saying it. But I watched a candidate last night who, and she acknowledged this. You ask her a question, she said, I may not have a quick, snappy answer. People accuse Kamala Harris sometimes of engaging in like a big old word salad when she responds to questions. She strikes me, and she said this last night. I'm the kind of person, when you ask me a question, I have a hard time giving you an answer right away because I want to research it. I want to talk to people about it. I want to look into it. I want to give you a well thought out answer. You ask me about it, my stance on immigration, I'll give it to you, but I want to put the best and the brightest around me, and I want to figure out the best approach. She's someone she struck me as a worker bee. Like, I'm really impressed. If we can elect her, I think she's someone who will really roll up her sleeves and work hard. I think she enjoys that. I watched her last night, and she struck me as someone who will much more readily enjoy the work, the to-do list, the work of being president. And she said this last night, the working on the problems, trying to fix the problems, trying to find solutions. She clearly enjoys that part more than she does appearing in a town hall or sitting on The View and talking to people. She'd rather do things. Whereas, again, contrasting with Trump, all Trump cares about is putting that big orange ugly mug in front of a TV camera. I gained even more respect for Kamala Harris last night. Saying all of this, even knowing I disagree with her on plenty of policy. Final thought. So she finishes her town hall last night, and all the CNN talking heads and commentators, as Jake Tapper said, analyze how she did in the town hall. The good, the bad, the hits, the misses. She was analyzed like we analyze a normal candidate for president. The things she did well, the things she didn't do so well in that town hall. Her strong, passionate answers, and the questions that she kind of botched and missed. Jake Tapper said this. We treat her like a normal candidate for president. We analyze her performance. Contrast that with Trump. We don't treat Trump like a normal candidate for president. We grade him on a curve. We treat him like a 4-year-old child. I mean, Trump says things like, my political opponents are the enemy within. Any other candidate said that, they'd be done. Trump says he's going to put the military against he's going to sick the military on his political opponents. Any other candidate says that, they're done. Trump says he admires Adolf Hitler. Any other candidate for president says that, they're done. Trump says he will not accept the results of this election again if he loses. Any other candidate for president says that, he or she is done. Trump says the ugliest, most hateful, cruelest things about anyone. Any other candidate expressed that ugliness, bigotry, racism, cruelty, and hate, they'd be done. We don't treat Trump like a normal candidate for president. Shame on us. Donald Trump said that migrants in this country are eating cats and dogs. If any other candidate for president said that, they'd be done. And finally, Donald Trump lies every time he opens his mouth. If any other candidate for president lied as much as Donald Trump lies, they'd be done. We treat Kamala Harris like we treat mature, adult candidates for president. We treat Donald Trump like some 4-year-old. Shame on us. American voter, shame on you. Every single Republican and independent and even moderate Democrat right now thinking of voting for Donald Trump because maybe he'll keep your taxes down. Maybe he might benefit you financially, which is bullshit. Can you say tariffs? Or maybe he's stronger on Israel. Whatever the reason, shame on you for treating this lawless, un-American psychopath like a 4-year-old. I'll say it again. Any of you thinking about voting for Donald Trump, not Trump's hardcore base, all the rest of you, thinking about, for whatever reason, any of you placing your own personal or financial interest ahead of what you know is best for this country. Shame on you. Shame on you. Is it worth it to maybe save a little bit on your tax bill to vote for a president who admires Hitler? Is it? And again, all of Trump's economic shit is bullshit. But is it worth it? And what do you tell your kids? Is it worth it to vote for a candidate who admires Hitler because you think like it'll benefit you financially? Shame on you. You got 12, 13 fucking days to think about and put your country first. Put your country first. You'll be just fine. You who make a lot of money and you're doing really well, you will be just fine with either one of these two. Financially, you'll be just fine financially with either one of these two in the White House. Put your country first. Thanks for listening. Finish your week strong. Joe Walsh here. Be brave, everybody. Be brave.
Remember to listen, share, and follow The Social Contract with Joe Walsh on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere great podcasts are found. And be sure to leave a 5-star review. This has been The Social Contract with Joe Walsh.